Dear viewers, in my previous lecture, I have introduced you to disaccharides, and there we have discussed in great details the glycosidic bond and the formation of glycosidic bond. This I had illustrated by taking an example of maltose, and we found that the OH unit on the anomeric carbon of the first residue of alpha D glucose reacts with the OH group on the fourth carbon of the second residue, resulting in glycosidic bond. I had also introduced you to the alpha and the beta terms in glycosidic bond. That is, we can call a glycosidic bond as an alpha 1,4 glycosidic bond. We can also call it as beta 1,4 glycosidic bond. So now the question is, what do we mean by this numero-Arabic terms like alpha? What does alpha or beta indicates when we are referring to a glycosidic bond? And what does 1,4 numerals indicate? So let me discuss this in detail first, and then we will discuss properties of maltose in detail. So as I have already said, that glycosidic bonds are designated as alpha or beta. The alpha designation indicates that the bond from the anomeric carbon to the oxygen in the glycosidic bond is oriented downwards from the ring. So when I am talking of the ring here, I am talking of the Parenos ring. And as you can see on your screens, there is a bond has been indicated between the two monosaccharide units, and here, as you can see on your screens, the bond is the bond from the anomeric carbon and the oxygen is pointing downwards. So this downward is indicated direction is indicated by alpha. So alpha designation, we'll give it alpha designation. Why will we give it alpha designation? Because the bond from the anomeric carbon to the oxygen of the glycosidic bond is oriented downwards. So this is the bond to which we are illustrating that this is your alpha linkage. So as you can see on your screens, I am trying to depict it that this is the alpha linkage here, that is, this bond is the alpha bond. Now if we go on to what does the beta designation indicate? The beta designation indicates that the bond from the anomeric carbon to the oxygen in the glycosidic bond is directed upward from the ring. So when you look at this bond here, so what we find that this bond from C to O in the glycosidic bond, it is pointing upward towards oxygen. So when it is oriented upward from the ring, this is known as the beta linkage. So when we talk of the beta linkage, so I hope it is now clear what is the difference between the alpha and the beta linkage. Then as you can see on your screens, I am trying to illustrate again and again on your screens that what is the alpha and what is the beta. So when we talk of the beta form, in beta, this linkage is towards the upward direction, right? Whereas when we talk of the alpha form, in alpha form, the bond from the carbon to the oxygen is pointing downwards here in the glycosidic bond. So this is known as the alpha designation, and the beta is where the bond from the carbon to the oxygen is pointing upwards. So we will give it beta, and in the other case we will give it alpha designation. So a glycosidic bond is characterized by its alpha and beta orientation and a description of which two carbons are linked by the glycosidic bond. For example, when we say that the maltose has alpha 1,4 glycosidic bond. What do we mean by this? The numbers and arrows that are seen in the parenthesis, that is 1 arrow 4 in case of maltose, it clearly indicates the position number of the anomeric carbon where the glycosidic bond originates. Then the arrow is followed by the carbon position number 4 where the glycosidic bond terms in the other residue. So I hope here you can see on your screens very clearly, which I have indicated by red arrow. Red arrow indicates position number 1, and this position number 1 indicates that this is the position from where the glycosidic bond is originating, and the carbon number 4 in the second residue is indicated by a black arrow. That is, this is where the glycosidic bond is terminating. This is what the 1 and the 4 terms, that is the numerals, indicate in 1,4 in bracket, that the bond is starting from first, it is between first and the fourth carbon. Now the alpha terminology indicates here that this bond, that is the CO bond here, is pointing in downward direction, this bond. So please keep in mind, you will not look into the direction of this bond. It is this bond, that is the bond of the anomeric carbon to oxygen, which indicates that the position here is alpha. Now the second, so this is what we have here, that is the bond here is alpha. Now if we talk of a beta linkage, so what does beta linkage indicate? That is, in case of beta linkage, this will be on the opposite side, that is this bond will go upwards. Now when we talk of maltose, so maltose is also known as maltobiose or malt sugar. Why is it known as malt sugar? Because we obtain it by hydrolysis from barley liver, germinating barley, and that is from its malt, so it is known as malt sugar, and it is a disaccharide formed from 2 units of glucose joined by an alpha 1,4 bond. I think this is now very clear as to why we are saying alpha and why we are indicating 1,4 bond. And this sugar is found in cereals like barley. As you can see on your screens, this is what we've shown, that an maltose is obtained from germinating seeds, as you can see here, and we also obtain maltose syrup is also obtained from this germinating seeds, and hence it is also known as malt sugar. When now we want to obtain maltose from nature, so what we can do is the hydrolysis, partial hydrolysis of starch by enzyme diastase present in the sprouted barley seeds will partially hydrolyze starch to give us maltose. And here what you can see is the structure of maltose on your screen, where you can see a glycosidic linkage between 2 alpha D glucose units, and the bond is between the first carbon and the fourth carbon. So what we conclude, or what we can say, that maltose is a disaccharide with the molecular formula C12H22O11. Why molecular formula C12H22O11? Because 2 residues of alpha D glucose, each having molecular formula C6H12O6, have combined together to give us C12H22O11, that is a maltose disaccharide with elimination of water molecule. And maltose, you know, is a white crystalline solid, because all sugars are white crystalline solids, and it is soluble in water, but it is insoluble in ether and alcohols. It is soluble in water because it is capable of forming intermolecular hydrogen bonding. It is dextrorotatory, and the direction of the optical rotation does not change after hydrolysis. This is a very important point, that maltose is dextrorotatory, as well as when we carry out the hydrolysis of maltose, the two monosaccharides which we get, the mixture of those two monosaccharides is also dextrorotatory in nature. And it is the enzyme maltase which hydrolyses maltose to give 2-alpha-D glucopyranose molecules. Now, here you can see on your screens again that we have carried out the hydrolysis of maltose, and when we are carrying out the hydrolysis of maltose, that is, it can be acidic hydrolysis or it can be enzymatic hydrolysis with maltase, it gives us two molecules of alpha-D glucose. So, the molecular formula here is C12H22O11, and when we add water to it, we are getting 2 units each of having molecular formula C6H12O6. So, when we talk of these 2 units, we refer to them as alpha D glucopyranose. Alpha, now I am sure you know that it indicates that the position or the orientation of OH at anomeric carbon is downwards. That is, the CH2OH group and the OH are on the opposite side of the plane of the ring. Second, D, as you already know, it indicates the position of OH on the highest numbered asymmetric carbon. D, that is, it is dextrorotatory, and gluco because it is a Haworth structure for glucose, and pyranose because it is a pyrane because it is a 6-membered ring, heterocyclic ether link, and O's because it is a carbohydrate. This is what we mean. So, when we bring about the hydrolysis of maltose, this is a very important point that you have to remember, we get a mixture, we get 2 units of alpha-D glucopyranose. So, what you have to remember is that the optical rotation of maltose and the 2 units of alpha-D glucose which we are getting after hydrolysis, the direction is same. What I mean by saying direction is same, the value will be different, the specific rotation will be different, but both of them are dextrorotatory. Maltose is also dextrorotatory, and the product on hydrolysis is also dextrorotatory, that is, it will rotate the path of plane polarized right in right hand direction. Now, the next point that you have to remember, a question may be asked, what type of linkage does maltose have? Does it have an alpha linkage, alpha glycosidic linkage, or beta glycosidic linkage? You have to remember it has alpha glycosidic linkage. Reason being that maltose does not maltase enzyme does not hydrolyze beta glycosidic linkages. So, if maltase is bringing about hydrolysis of maltose to give us 2 units of alpha-D glucose, that means the linkage, the glycosidic linkage there has alpha configuration, or the stereochemistry at the anomeric carbon is alpha, that is, OH is below, is pointing downwards. So, this clearly proves that the sugar unit of maltose is an alpha anomer of D-glucose and it is not a beta one, and therefore we call this as alpha glycoside. Now, when we here again on your screens, you can see the structure of maltose. Here I would again emphasize on the point, that is, here we have a acetyl linkage, and when we have a acetyl linkage here, so this is the part which is coming from the sugar residue. So, this is known as glycon, and this second part of sugar, which is acting like an alcohol. The OH here is acting like an alcohol group. So this is the A glycon unit. So when we will carry out the hydrolysis of this molecule, we will get two units of glucose. So this unit, in which the OH will be attached to the anomeric carbon, would be your glycone unit, and the other one in which the OH can be attached to any other carbon other than the anomeric carbon would be the A glycon unit. It is not necessary, please keep in mind, that they can give you the structure when they give you the products of hydrolysis, that they will write it in this order only, that is glycon and A glycon. They may even write down A glycon first and glycon later on. So how will you recognize the two units? The glycon is the one in which the OH, which is being removed, is attached to the anomeric carbon, that is the hemiacetal group, and the OH on the A glycon unit may be from any other carbon. Supposing now both of the anomeric carbons are used for making this glycosidic bond, so both will act as glycons. We will not have a glycon unit there. So as you can now again see on your screens here, this is the acetal unit here, which is being formed because of the glycosidic linkage between these two monosaccharides. So this is a acetal unit. Why is this a acetal unit? Because in this case the anomeric carbon is attached to two ether groups, the OR group and the OR group here. And since it is attached to two ether groups, that means this residue is locked here. Keep in mind, it is locked. So even if we try to rotate this bond, it will not rotate. At this point, molecule will not open up, and therefore this unit will not act as a reducing agent, neither will it show the phenomena of beta-rotation. But nevertheless, the second unit of maltose, which is again what we can see here is alpha D glucose, is the hemiacetal unit, because here this carbon is attached to a ether group and it is again attached to a OH group. So when we dissolve it in water or we carry out the reaction in a basic medium, this will open up, and it is this residue which can undergo mutarotation, and this molecule will be locked here, because here we have a acetal linkage, that is a glycosidic bond has been formed here, and this is locked in the cyclic form. So now, as I said, that this molecule will show us the mutarotation. Now a question can be asked that maltose is a disaccharide. Will it show mutarotation? You know, all monosaccharides show mutarotation and they are reducing in nature. So please remember, maltose is also will show mutarotation, because in this case this is your hemiacetal group here. So when we dissolve it in water, water acts as a catalyst and it helps in the opening of the ring here, resulting in the formation of the open chain, that is the aldehydic form. Now again the ring closure can take place here because of the reaction between the OH on the fifth carbon and this carbonyl bond here, resulting again in the formation of hemiacetal. I would like to point out two things here which you have to be very clear with, that when we are talking of the glycosidic linkage here, the glycosidic linkage here is 1,4-glycosidic linkage, which is the same in both the cases. But when we are referring to this particular molecule of maltose, we are calling it as alpha maltose, and we are calling this molecule as beta maltose. Why so? Because please remember, here in the hemiacetal ring, the orientation of OH is downward. That is the stereochemistry or the configuration at the anomeric carbon is OH is pointing downwards. Since it is pointing downwards, it is known as alpha maltose, and in this case it is pointing upward, and since it is pointing upward, this molecule is known as beta maltose. So similar will be the cases in all other disaccharides we will be discussing. That is, the orientation of OH will decide what at the hemiacetal carbon, whether the molecule is alpha or the beta, and the direction of the bond here, that is from C anomeric carbon to oxygen, will decide whether the molecule is alpha or it is beta. So in this case, again I have elaborated the mutarotation only. That is, in this case we have a cyclic structure, we dissolve it in water. This is your glycosidic linkage which is locked, which will not change during mutarotation. We dissolve it in water, the ring opening will take place at the hemiacetal form. This is stable, this will not undergo ring opening, this is locked here, and after this again a bond formation will take place, ring closure will take place, resulting in the formation of beta maltose. So the thing that you have to remember here, again I am stressing on that the mutarotation will not change the alpha and the beta designations of a glycosidic bond here. So here I have just taken the two extreme forms, that is the alpha form, this is your alpha form, and this is the beta form. So when we talk of the alpha form here, what we find that the OH is on the lower side on the anomeric carbon here, and in the beta form the OH is above. But what you find here, what is important to be noted, that the orientation of the glycosidic bond has not changed even after mutarotation. It is only the orientation of the OH at the anomeric carbon which has changed, and this has locked in the glycosidic bond. So now next point that you have to keep in mind is that maltose is a reducing sugar. Why is maltose a reducing sugar? Because as we've seen when we discussed the structure of maltose, that one of the two units is existing as a hemiacetal, and since one of the two units is existing as an hemiacetal, it can occur in equilibrium with the open chain structure, and we know that the open chain structure has an aldehyde group, so it will act as a reducing agent. So what you have here is maltose. We've dissolved when we carry out the reaction with Fellings or Benedict's or Tollin's reagent, that is in basic medium. It will undergo enediol rearrangement here, it will undergo ring opening, and the structure will open and we will get a aldehydic form here, right? And now this aldehydic form will give us a reaction with the Fellings, Tollin's or Benedict's reagent. Now the second disaccharide that I would like to discuss here with you is cellobiose. Why cellobiose? Cellobiose is important because in cellobiose is a disaccharide of glucose, and it has beta glycosidic linkage. Remember, in maltose we had alpha glycosidic linkage. So when in maltose we had alpha glycosidic linkage, the molecular formula of maltose is C12H22O11. Similarly, the molecular formula for cellobiose is also C12H22O11. So the molecular formula is same, only the orientation at the anomeric carbon is different, or we can say only the glycosidic linkage that is being formed is different. That is the in case of maltose we have alpha glycosidic linkage, whereas in case of cellobiose we have beta glycosidic linkage. Therefore, please remember cellobiose and maltose are diastereomers, and even when we will talk of lactose, that is also a diastereomer. Sorry, not lactose, because lactose is made up of galactose and glucose. So this is a diastereomer. So when this is a diastereomer, so what we mean here is, now if you go back to your monosaccharides, please remember glucose and mannose are also diastereomers. Similarly, glucose and galactose were diastereomers. So what we mean here is that cellobiose and maltose are diastereomers which differ in configuration only at the glycosidic linkage. That is, they differ only in stereochemistry at the anomeric carbon of the glycosidic linkage. So when we talk of the cellobiose, what do we find? That here the bond, the glycosidic bond is oriented in upward direction. When it is oriented in upward direction, that means this linkage is 1. This is a beta linkage, which we've indicated here, that beta linkage. And then the bond is between the first carbon of the glycon unit, that is the anomeric carbon, and the fourth carbon of the second residue. So what do we have here? We have a beta linkage here. So how to? So beta linkage here. Now why is it a beta linkage? Because it has a glucosidic linkage is between is beta, right? That is, the bond is being pointing upwards, the glycosidic bond. Whereas when we talk of maltose, there the linkage is alpha. There also the linkage is between the first carbon of the first residue and the fourth carbon of the second residue. But in that case, the bond is oriented in the downward direction. So what you have here is the bond is pointing downwards here, that is alpha. So we have alpha 1,4 glucosidic linkage in maltose, and here the glycosidic bond is pointing in the upward direction, that is CO bond here. This is what you have to see, and therefore we call this as the beta. So 1,4. So I hope here the difference between the alpha and the beta configurations are clear. What do we mean by alpha glycosidic bond? Glucosidic bond here, bond between this anomeric carbon and oxygen is pointing downwards, so alpha, and here the bond between the anomeric carbon and the oxygen is pointing upwards, therefore beta. So please remember, why am I stressing again and again on alpha and beta? Because this is where the questions are asked, and this is how they can ask you, how do glucose, that is, how do maltose and lactose differ? Maltose and cellobiose differ. So they differ due to their linkages, that is, one has alpha glycosidic linkage and the other one has the beta glycosidic linkage. Now you have to remember that this is present in very small amounts in cellulose, and it is obtained by partial hydrolysis of cellulose by enzyme cellulose, and which is present in microbes, and the enzyme emulsin hydrolyzes beta glycosidic linkage of cellobiose to yield only glucose units. So from where do we obtain cellobiose? We obtain cellobiose by partial hydrolysis of cellulose by the enzyme cellulase of microbes, and cellobiose on hydrolysis will only give us glucose units. And as you've seen that cellobiose has the free hemiacetal group, so it can act as a reducing sugar, it will undergo mutarotation, and that means if it is undergoing mutarotation in aqueous solution, it will exist in 3 forms, that is alpha, beta and the aldehydic form, and it can also form an oxime or an oxime. So this is, in today's lecture, what I have done is I have stressed on the linkages in the cellobiose and maltose, and I have shown you what do we mean by alpha linkage, what do we mean by beta linkage, and why are maltose and cellobiose reducing sugars, why will they show the phenomena of mutarotation. Now in my next lecture I shall be discussing lactose and sucrose with you. For these lectures, for this lecture that we've just discussed on maltose, I have carried out, or I have referred to the books of Carey Francis, McMurray-Jones, Wade, Claydon and Solomons. You can also refer to these books for further studies. Thank you.